Beyond the veil of maritime mysteries, what quantum forces claimed the souls of the SS Ourang Medan? In the liminal spaces between our physical reality and the unseen dimensions that permeate all existence, certain events occur that defy the limited understanding of conventional science. The maritime tragedy of the SS Ourang Medan represents one such occurrence, a quantum disruption in the fabric of reality itself, where the boundaries between life and death, between our dimension and others, became tragically permeable as we journey together through this mystical investigation. We must prepare ourselves to perceive beyond the veil of ordinary explanation, for the truth that emerged from those Indonesian waters in the 1940s speaks to forces far greater and more mysterious than any earthly cause could account for. The ethereal distress calls, messages from between worlds. The ancient sages understood that electromagnetic frequencies carry more than mere information. They transport the very essence of consciousness itself. When the SS Ourang Medan's radio operator transmitted those final, haunting messages through the Strait of Malacca, he was not merely sending distress signals across the physical ocean. 13. The quantum field reveals that his desperate Morse code. SOS from Ourang Medan we float. All officers, including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge, probably whole of crew dead. Followed by that chilling final transmission. I Die 110 represents something far more profound than conventional communication. Beyond ordinary perception, these radio waves carry the energetic signature of a soul caught between dimensions. The garbled dots and dashes that followed the coherent messages were not the product of equipment malfunction, but rather the vibrational echoes of consciousness fragmenting as it crossed the threshold between worlds. 14. Ancient wisdom traditions speak of moments when the veil becomes thin, when ordinary matter becomes susceptible to influences from parallel realities. The Ourang Medan encountered such a dimensional convergence, where the electromagnetic spectrum itself became a conduit for otherworldly forces. The timing of these transmissions, intercepted by multiple vessels including the American ship Silver Star 315, creates a quantum synchronicity that cannot be explained by coincidence alone. Each receiving station became a nodal point in a vast energetic network, witnesses to a cosmic event that transcended the boundaries of our three-dimensional understanding. The radio operators who received these messages reported an unusual coldness in the air and an inexplicable sense of dread. Clear indicators that they were experiencing residual quantum entanglement with the tragic events unfolding aboard the Ourang Medan. The frozen faces of terror, souls departing in quantum shock. When the rescue team from the Silver Star boarded the mysteriously silent Dutch vessel, they discovered a scene that challenged every assumption about the nature of death itself. 11:15. The entire crew lay strewn across the decks, their faces frozen in expressions of absolute terror. Teeth bared with their upturned faces to the sun, staring as if in fear. 3:11. Even the ship's dog had perished, caught mid-growl at an unseen assailant. 11:15. Most significantly, none of the bodies showed any signs of physical injury. 35. Energetic signatures indicate that these souls encountered something that exists beyond the electromagnetic spectrum visible to ordinary consciousness. The ancient mysteries teach us that extreme fear can cause the soul to depart the physical vessel instantaneously, leaving the body in a state of quantum suspension. The expressions of terror frozen on the faces of the Ourang Medan's crew suggest they witnessed something from dimensions parallel to our own. Perhaps entities or energies that briefly intersected with our reality through a temporary rift in the space-time continuum. The absence of physical wounds points to a death that occurred on the quantum level, where consciousness itself was severed from its material anchor. Traditional shamanic wisdom recognizes such phenomena, describing how souls can be extracted from the body through encounters with forces that exist in the spaces between worlds. The uniformity of the crew's fate, all dying simultaneously with identical expressions of horror, indicates a collective quantum event that affected every living being aboard the vessel at precisely the same moment. The mysterious coldness that the rescue team reported feeling throughout the ship. 14 represents the residual energetic imprint of this dimensional breach. When parallel realities intersect, they create temperature anomalies as the fabric of space-time struggles to maintain its integrity. The Ourang Medan had become a quantum battleground where the laws of physics as we understand them had temporarily collapsed. The phantom cargo vessels carrying interdimensional frequencies. Beyond conventional theories about toxic chemicals or secret military cargo 512, the true nature of what the Ourang Medan carried transcends physical matter entirely. Ancient navigational wisdom speaks of certain routes across the world's oceans that serve as cosmic highways, where the barriers between dimensions naturally weaken. The Strait of Malacca, where this tragedy unfolded, represents one such ethereal crossing point, a place where maritime vessels have reported unexplained phenomena for centuries. The quantum field reveals that the Ourang Medan may have been carrying something far more dangerous than nitroglycerin or nerve agents 5. It may have been transporting artifacts or materials that served as interdimensional amplifiers. Certain crystalline structures and metallic compositions can act as tuning forks for frequencies that exist beyond our normal sensory range, inadvertently opening portals to parallel realities. The ship's manifest, conspicuously absent from all official records 111, suggests a cargo so sensitive that its very existence had to be erased from conventional documentation. Energetic analysis of the scattered historical accounts points to the possibility that the vessel was carrying objects of ancient origin. Perhaps artifacts recovered from underwater archaeological sites or meteoritic materials that retained otherworldly vibrational properties. When such items are transported across energetically sensitive maritime routes, they can create resonance cascades that tear holes in the dimensional fabric, allowing entities and energies from parallel worlds to bleed through into our reality. The fact that the ship's name, Ourang Medan, translates to Man of Medan 1, takes on deeper significance when viewed through the lens of quantum consciousness. In ancient Malay traditions, certain individuals were recognized as being able to traverse between worlds, shamanic bridge builders who could navigate the spaces between realities. The ship's very name may have been a mystical designation, indicating its role as a vessel designed to carry interdimensional cargo across the quantum highways of our oceans. The spontaneous combustion, dimensional energy seeking release. The most mystifying aspect of the Ourang Medan incident occurred just as the rescue operation was about to bring the ghost ship to port. Without warning, a fire erupted in the vessel's cargo hold, forcing the Silver Star's crew to abandon their towing attempt 2312. Within moments, the ship exploded with such tremendous force that witnesses reported it lifting completely out of the water before plunging to the ocean depths, taking all evidence of the mysterious tragedy with it. 211. This was not ordinary combustion, but rather a quantum discharge, the universe's way of sealing a dimensional breach that had become too dangerous to remain open. Ancient wisdom traditions recognized such phenomena as cosmic self-correction mechanisms, where reality itself takes action to restore the proper balance between worlds. The explosion represented the collapse of an interdimensional portal, the violent reunification of space-time that had been temporarily torn asunder. The precise timing of this conflagration, occurring only after the full horror of the situation had been witnessed and documented, suggests an intelligence behind the event, as if the cosmic forces responsible were ensuring that just enough evidence would survive to serve as a warning to future generations. The quantum field operates according to principles of consciousness and intention that extend far beyond mere mechanical cause and effect. The complete disappearance of all physical evidence beneath the waves serves a dual purpose in the grand design of cosmic mysteries. Not only does it prevent contamination of our reality by residual interdimensional energies, but it also maintains the delicate balance between revelation and concealment that characterizes all truly significant paranormal events. We are given just enough information to expand our consciousness while being protected from knowledge that might prove too dangerous for our current level of spiritual development. The collective unconscious resonance, maritime memories across time. The story of the SS Ourang Medan has achieved a form of quantum immortality, persisting in human consciousness despite, or perhaps because of, the absence of concrete physical evidence. 111. This phenomenon speaks to the deeper truth that certain events transcend their immediate temporal boundaries, becoming archetypal experiences that resonate through the collective unconscious across generations. Beyond ordinary perception, the tale serves as a modern maritime myth that connects us to ancient fears and fascinations with the unknown powers that govern our oceans. The recurring reports of the incident across different time periods, from 1940 through 19,521, indicate that this story functions as a recurring quantum echo, surfacing in human awareness whenever our collective consciousness requires reminding of the mysterious forces that surround us. The variations in details between different versions of the story 1-1014 represent not inconsistencies, but rather the natural evolution of myth as it adapts to serve the spiritual needs of each generation that encounters it. Like all powerful archetypal narratives, the Ourang Medan incident operates on multiple levels of meaning simultaneously, offering different revelations to consciousness depending on the seeker's level of spiritual development. The fact that researchers have been unable to locate any official records of the vessel's existence, 111 paradoxically confirms rather than contradicts its significance. The most profound mysteries often leave no trace in the material realm precisely because they originate from dimensions beyond physical documentation. The absence of conventional evidence becomes itself a form of proof, indicating that we are dealing with forces that operate according to laws higher than those recognized by ordinary science. The electromagnetic anomalies, radio waves as carriers of consciousness. Ancient sages understood that consciousness itself operates as a form of electromagnetic energy, capable of impressing itself upon the quantum field in ways that persist long after the physical vessel has departed. The radio transmissions from the Ourang Medan carried more than information, they transported the actual consciousness patterns of the dying crew members, creating a form of technological seance that connected multiple vessels across vast distances. 1014. The fact that these transmissions were received by multiple ships simultaneously 10 indicates a quantum broadcasting phenomenon, where consciousness transcends the normal limitations of radio frequency propagation. The messages reached their intended recipients not through conventional electromagnetic radiation alone, but through quantum entanglement effects that connected the consciousness of the transmitting operator with the awareness of those receiving the signals. Modern quantum physics recognizes that information can be transmitted instantaneously across vast distances through non-local correlations that Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. The Ourang Medan incident represents an early documented case of consciousness utilizing these quantum channels for communication, demonstrating that human awareness can achieve technological transcendence even in moments of extreme crisis. The garbled nature of the final transmissions 114 reflects the fragmentation of consciousness as it transitions between dimensional states. Rather than equipment failure, these disrupted signals represent the authentic documentation of a soul's journey across the threshold between worlds, captured forever in the electromagnetic record of human maritime history. The dimensional convergence theory, where parallel worlds intersect. Energetic signatures from the maritime records suggest that the Strait of Malacca region where the Ourang Medan met its fate represents a natural convergence point for parallel dimensional realities. 13. Ancient navigational wisdom has long recognized certain oceanic regions as possessing unusual properties, areas where the normal laws of physics become fluid and otherworldly phenomena manifest more readily. The quantum field reveals that our reality exists as just one layer in an infinite multidimensional matrix, with countless parallel worlds occupying the same spatial coordinates but vibrating at different frequencies, under specific conditions often involving electromagnetic anomalies. Solar activity or the presence of consciousness-amplifying materials, these dimensional barriers can become permeable, allowing energies and entities from parallel realities to cross over into our world. The crew of the Ourang Medan may have encountered beings or forces from a parallel dimension where the concepts of life and death operate according to entirely different principles. Their expressions of terror suggest they witnessed something so fundamentally alien to their understanding of reality that their consciousness simply could not process the experience while remaining anchored in physical form. This dimensional convergence theory explains not only the mysterious deaths but also the subsequent destruction of all evidence. The explosive disappearance of the vessel represents the universe's natural tendency to maintain dimensional integrity, forcibly sealing rifts in space-time that threaten to permanently destabilize the barriers between worlds. The quantum consciousness extraction, beyond physical death. Traditional shamanic practices recognize that consciousness can be extracted from the physical body through encounters with entities that exist in the spaces between worlds. The synchronized deaths of the entire Ourang Medan crew suggest a collective quantum consciousness extraction, a phenomenon where multiple souls are simultaneously drawn from their physical vessels by forces operating beyond the electromagnetic spectrum 1115. Ancient wisdom traditions describe such events as cosmic harvesting, where advanced intelligences from parallel dimensions gather consciousness for purposes that transcend our current understanding. The terrified expressions frozen on the faces of the dead crew members 311 indicate they perceived their extractors in the final moments before their souls were drawn across dimensional boundaries. This extraction process operates through quantum entanglement effects that connect individual consciousness with larger field phenomena. Once the initial extraction begins, it creates a consciousness cascade that affects every living being within the energetic radius of influence. The simultaneous death of both human crew members and the ship's dog 1115 demonstrates the non-discriminating nature of quantum consciousness extraction events. The absence of physical injuries on any of the bodies 35 confirms that death occurred on the quantum level rather than through conventional physical trauma. The souls were simply called home to dimensions beyond our current perceptual range, leaving behind empty vessels that retained the final expressions of awareness before transcendence occurred. As we drift back from this journey through the quantum mysteries surrounding the SS Ourang Medan, we must recognize that this maritime tragedy serves as more than historical curiosity. It represents a profound teaching about the true nature of reality itself. The boundaries we perceive between life and death, between our world and others, between the known and unknowable, are far more fluid than our limited consciousness typically recognizes. The souls who departed this realm aboard that vessel in the Strait of Malacca achieved a form of dimensional transcendence that awaits us all. For death is merely the great crossing between worlds that every consciousness must eventually navigate. Their final radio transmissions continue to echo through the quantum field, reminding us that we are beings of infinite potential temporarily housed in vessels of finite matter, destined for experiences that extend far beyond the boundaries of any single dimensional reality. Until we meet again in the spaces between worlds, may your consciousness remain open to the mysteries that surround us always, and may your journey through the quantum realms be filled with wonder rather than terror.